Hello. Yeah, when a film is presented by Yash Raj, it's a special film, and this time it's Yash Raj Films plus Dibakar Banerjee. So how special Titli is? So double special.
I think Titli would have been as special if Madurai International Pictures would have produced it. I don't even know if such a production company exists. I'm just saying it as an example of a production company that sounds unlikely. Because we all know Madurai has no film industry, so I'm just saying it. Or Maldives Films International would have produced Titli, and even then, I can assure you, if this was the same film, Khan would have selected it. So, the happy chance here is the fact that both DBP and YRF could associate themselves with a film like Titli from India, where we like tagging ourselves, where YRF is tagged as the big Bollywood giant, where DBP or Dibakar is tagged as this indie guy, whereas all we are trying to do is to make a film that is suitably original and makes as much money as possible, right? Ultimately, that's all you want to do. And it's a compromise between the two that defines the result. So I don't think there is any specialty has been added to Titli because of YRF and DBP. Kanu would have made the same film under any circumstances. I think the fact that someone like YRF and someone like DBP, who nobody could have imagined, could have collaborated together, a bit like Imran Hashmi and Abhay Deol acting in a film, which they did. So I think that's the happy coincidence. Not a coincidence, that's a happy thing, and I'm proud of bringing that about along with YRF, because DBP probably knows a bit about making a film like Titli while preserving it. But DBP really doesn't know how to call all of you guys together under one platform and tell you about the film. DBP really does not have the wherewithal to completely lay out the whole production and the financial and the PR machinery for Titli to have a smooth run at Cannes. YRF does. When our sales reps see that this small film comes to them from a co-producer who is also the producer of the biggest film of Cannes, which is opening the film festival, then they have a little more respect for us. And this is the synergy where we win, because each one of us is taking a strength and from each other and feeding off each other, and I think that's good for Indian cinema. This is the first of its kind. Nobody expected that this would happen, but I'm hoping that this would become the norm.
Dibakar, you're co-producing this film with YRF, and YRF is known to make Bollywood extravaganzas. So is this an attempt to make offbeat cinema the mainstream in any way? Your decision to co-produce Titli with YRF, is it a decision, is it a conscious decision to make offbeat cinema the mainstream, the new mainstream?
To some extent, yes. I know that whatever film YRF produces, it stands behind it. It never lets a child sink. There are good films, there are bad films, there are average films. But a producer is always good or bad. A producer may make a good film or a bad film or an average film. But a producer's inherent quality to stand behind a film, no matter what, is very important. And that is what I respect of YRF, that it stands behind what it says. Another thing that I've noticed is that YRF loves the business of cinema. And we are probably 1/100th the size of YRF. We also love the business of making films. I may produce Titli today, I may produce Detective Byomkesh Bokshi tomorrow, and I may produce a slapstick comedy 3 years from now if it takes my fancy. But the fact is that I love the business and I love the process of making films. And same for all of us here. I think that's what brings us together.
So,
well, the film is the film is set now. It's set in today.
And actually, it deals with multiple themes. Patriarchy just happens to be one of the strong notes that it hits on. But it's as much a film about family and about the circularity that travels within a family, about the images that travel within a family, how the more we try to escape this one strong image in our family and try to get away physically, the more we actually distance ourselves physically, the more we obsess with increasing that distance, the more we find that that person is deep-rooted within us much more, and how we realize years later that we've almost turned into that same person. So that's one of the central themes of the film. And then there's the patriarchy. There's obviously, we are as a society probably going through that phase of change where the roles of men and women are changing, and the Indian man probably is today struggling against it a little bit, trying to redefine that role and trying to come to grips with where he stands, or how to grip this whole thing. So it's about, ultimately we're talking about four men in a house suddenly put in front of a woman, a new woman inside that house. So yes, their behavior to that girl becomes a part of the equation naturally, but it's not something that I guess what I'm saying is I'm not trying to make a comment on patriarchy. The film is not me trying to tell you something about patriarchy. It's just a story that unfolds with these characters, and they behave in certain ways with each other, which all of us behave in. We have the same patterns, and you just witness this strange, interesting story. And I guess I would like people to make whatever they want to make out of it. So I wouldn't want to bracket it as just a film about patriarchy.
Kanu,
Yeah.
for a film which has patriarchy as such an important theme, the star cast has 4 men and just 1 woman. So is that just an irony, or is it like a conscious decision to have just 1 woman? Because, so that's precisely my question. Like, was it a conscious decision to keep just 1 important woman in the entire star cast?
No, I think I'd be giving myself just a little bit too much importance if I said I made a lot of conscious decisions. Truth is, it's an honest sort of document of of our times. It's personal in many ways. It's lived in many ways, and obviously the lived has been a dive board, and we've moved forward then and fictionalized it and found another story altogether. Me and Sharath, as we've gone through the process of discovering the screenplay. That said. Yes, I mean, as I just said, it's about 4 men. The choice of those 4 men, again, not conscious. Just to answer your question, not conscious. It probably comes out of personally lived experiences.
So is it an autobiographical film? I mean,
no, it's not autobiographical. It's actually something that Dibakar, you coined an interesting term for it, which was not. It's auto story. It's not autobiographical. It's auto story. You said that. So that's I think that's an interesting term because it starts, as I said, the dive board is certain personal experiences. Growing up in my house as a teenager, I mean my relationship with my own father. It starts from there, but we wrote the script for a couple of years, me and Sharath, and a lot has. It has moved forward and it has found itself in those 2 years. We've dug a lot and we've questioned what we were writing a lot. And initially what we were writing was quite crappy. It was quite bad. It took us a lot of fighting and a lot of rigor to go back and say, no, this is not there yet. This is not there yet. We need to find more answers. And I think as we've dug and as we found those answers, the film has become an animal of its own. It's a screenplay which is much more than just one personal life. And that's why I think that universality in the screenplay is connecting with a lot of people. So I think that the rigor of the screenplay is sort of showing through. So yeah.